here's a video I was not planning on making, but sometimes that happens. So, I'm back in the States and getting ready to come home from LAX right now. Went to go put my information in to the kiosk to check in at United, and the attendant came over and wanted to see our proof of return ticket. Well, we didn't have that, obviously, because we live in Panama. So we gave her our residency card, and she won't accept it. I'm gonna show you why. It's because there are two different dates on this residency card. One is like the day that they started, I guess, the process or something. It's the fecha expedición. And then there's another number that's like when it was resolved, or another date when it was resolved. So my expedición date is May 11th, 2021. And my resolution date is April 6th. So that's, that's what happened. It's April 6th. So April 6th is when it was put in. And then it was granted on May 11th. Well, they're telling me that fecha expedición is the expiration date. And so I said, I need someone who speaks Spanish. I speak Spanish, she says. I said, then you should be able to read that it says expedición, not expedición. Okay? And then she got mad and left. So now we're in another line, like additional services, hoping that they're going to take our permanent residency cards. It's absolutely ridiculous. There's no expiration date put on here. For your residency cards, they're good as long as your passport is good, which is why you have to get a cédula, because the cédula number stays the same all the time. But the permanent residency card is attached to your passport. So if we had to renew our passport, then that would be an issue. We would then have to renew our permanent residency card. But again, that's why we get a cédula. But this card is good, so we're in line hoping that they're going to understand this residency card. I'll update you in a minute. All right, you can see that there's two dates on here. The one on the right is an April date, and that's the date that it was approved. And the one on the left is a May date, and it's the date that it was issued. Neither of those are expiration dates. Oh my God. Okay, so here's the deal. They sent us over into another line that was like, what was it? Special?
Additional services.
Additional services. Okay, so we go to the additional services line. That's where I did the last piece of the video from. And we were in that line for over half an hour, and we were third in line. It was not moving at all. They had one guy there, and he wasn't even at his kiosk for like 75% of the time. And so there were people behind us, like, there was a guy getting super irate. He's like, we're gonna miss our flight. Somebody needs to do something. I mean, it was about to get ugly. So I told Brian, I said, look, I'm just gonna go back over to the kiosks. Sorry, I'm in the line here. Back over to the kiosks and try again. Go back over. Very, very nice United employee came over, helped me, asked me for my proof of return. I said I'm a Panamanian resident. I showed him my card, and he ding, 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 went through the whole thing, the end. So then as soon as I had mine, I waved Brian over to my kiosk so then he could come out of that line and get in the same kiosk with the same guy. We went through, we had to chat about how crazy it is around here. He asked, would you rather live in Panama than here? And we're both like, yes, before we could even get the sentence out of his mouth. Everyone's fed up with this country, I think. So anyway, we're through, and now we're in a line to check our bags. That was probably, what, 30 people deep when we got here? It is now easily 200 people deep. Easy. This place, it's a flipping nightmare. So once I get in and get settled, I'm gonna tell you what to do to prevent the problem that we just experienced. Okay, forgive me, I am dirty and sweaty, and it is like 3 months after I filmed that original footage at LAX in Los Angeles. So I did want to come in and just finish this video up and get it out of the queue. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about what happened in a nutshell, and then talk to you about how you can prevent that from happening to you. But first, make sure you go below, you click subscribe, and you hit that notify button, because although we do have videos every single Friday, sometimes there's breaking news that you need to know before a Friday And the only way you're really going to know that to look for it is if you get that notification from YouTube. Okay, so, and if you have any questions about this whole thing we're talking about today or any other topic that I've talked about on YouTube or haven't even talked about yet, make sure you go to our Facebook group. That's also linked below. It's facebook.com/groups/IGoPanama, and I'm on there talking about all kinds of topics about Panama, and so are lots of other expats and tourists and Panamanians. There's all kinds of people on there, so you'll get some answers. All right, so let's head into what happened. So in a nutshell, basically what happened is we had a round trip ticket, Panama City to Los Angeles, back to Panama City, because we live in Panama. That's our end destination. We were just visiting Los Angeles. Well, when we went to United, they asked for our return ticket. I told them we don't have that because we live in Panama. They said, then we need your residency card. So I gave them that. And that is when the chaos ensued, because they could not and would not listen to us that there was no expiration date on that Panamanian residency card. They just saw a date on there, assumed it was an expiration date, and you know what happens when you assume. And yeah, then things got crazy. We literally could have missed our flight had we had to stay in that line. So what are the things that could be done to prevent this? Well, had it really come down to the brass tacks, we could have purchased a completely refundable return ticket to the US and then just canceled it as soon as we got through security into our gate, or when we got back to Panama or whatever. I think it's within 24 hours or something. Okay, that's an option, but you know what? It's a pain in the butt, and I shouldn't have to do that because I am a Panamanian resident, and that card means I don't have to have a return ticket to the US. So I shouldn't have to go through that hassle. And I do understand that airline employees cannot be trained to recognize the residency cards of all 180 some odd countries across the world. Okay, I get that. But how about, United, you stop and listen to me when I'm telling you that there is not an expiration date, and that little word there, when you tell me you speak Spanish, is not saying expiration. Okay, so we could have done that. But the thing that we would do if we were in this situation again is, before we go to the airport, we would print out this information from Kramer Law. And I'm going to link that below, direct link to the page where Kramer Law explains that there is no expiration date on a permanent residency card. And I think, if I remember correctly, it's even in bold. And so if you just have a permanent residency card, I highly recommend that you go ahead and just print that out full screen. So you have the Kramer logo and the URL and all of that information on there. Hand that with your residency card if they give you any problems. Hopefully it will save you some hassle. Okay, I can't guarantee that, obviously, because it seems like the airlines these days are all about hassle, but it might help you, you know. And if it doesn't, then maybe you just go to another kiosk and try to find somebody else like we did. But we won't have to worry about that anymore, because now we have a bright, new, shiny e-cedula. And if you have been in the process of moving to Panama, or you have already moved here, you may have heard people talking about these cedulas. Well, next week, I'm going to tell you all about cedulas. I'm going to tell you what it's for, how to get it, why it's important, do you have to have it, what does it cost, all of these different things. So again, make sure you subscribe below. Hit notify, join our IGO Panama Facebook group so you can get your questions answered, and maybe even help answer some other people's questions, because hey, we're all in this together, right? And I will see you next Friday.